Take this down. All right, there we go.
Oh, look, you got Northern Virginia up in the house. I see
Uh-oh.
somebody. Yeah, represent that PG.
Yep.
Alexandria, Virginia. I've been in all them places.
Yeah. So we up and running now. What's going on, Carter people? We got my man Nelson. We got Q. We got Sandy. We got Janice. We got Tia. We got Lashonda.
Hey,
We got the
Lashonda.
Notary Institution rolling on up in here.
I'm still.
Rashawn. We got All Star Mobile Notary. We got Loretta. We got Crystal. We got Ben. All right. Uh, yeah. Sorry for the small delay. Me and the wife just got home not too long ago, and I was fixing some food. I ain't ate it yet, but I'm gonna be eating it. I'll be chit chatting it up, and I was
What
fixing
what
me some stovetop stuffing and
what you got?
everything.
What you got? I'm
Yeah, I got
interested.
some chicken, man. Got some heated up some kind of little chicken breast tender thing, and got some apple barbecue sauce, and it tastes just like apple.
Apple barbecue sauce.
Yeah, it was at
You,
some Amish place that we have down here, and they got one that has some had a touch of orange in it. Tastes just like orange,
yeah,
and
I'm weird when you start mixing fruit and stuff in the barbecue
I know,
sauces. Like, I like that tang. I like a real smoky barbecue sauce. When you start getting
yeah,
sweet and everything, it's like
yeah. The apple one tastes pretty good. And then there's one that I got that's a smoky one that I get from my dad that he likes, and that one has a real smoky flavor to it and stuff.
okay.
So and all of that. So, well, party people, we are here live and popping. Thanks for all 20 folks showing on up in here. Feel free to hit that like button, share out. I also did a quick announcement over there on Instagram, letting folk know we're gonna be here. So hopefully folk will slide on in. But
Awesome.
as the title says, we're gonna talk about scaling your business. And Bill Soroka talks about it a lot. He talks about you need to nail it before you scale it. And if you don't have it down pack on what you're doing or how to do something before you start trying to scale into other things, that could be a problem, So you
Right.
really got to get good at it. And a lot of people, even with me, I try to take my time. And a lot of people try to rush me to do stuff, even with the notary success system that I'm doing. I'm even taking my time with that because as I look at it, I'm like, okay, things are shifting in the notary world. So, and I'm talking about doing face to face training. So there might not be any notaries to face train with because a lot of
Ooh.
y'all, a lot of folk are dropping out left and right. So I said, okay, so let me look at how else I can do this business and everything. So what you got to say about this, Q?
I'm definitely gonna say right now, especially with my small pivot that I've made with Captivated and speaking with folks on a one-to-one basis, which is kind of what Captivated is all about. That a lot of people get into this business with one aspect of it on their mind, and that's generally with loan signing. And they go from getting commission to directly jumping into wanting to get into loan signing. And they're forgetting the actual notary public part of that. And what's ending up happening right now, I think a lot of us, I kind of duck inside of some of the groups that are out there on Facebook and whatnot. There's a big shortage of signings. I think a lot of people have gotten into this business expecting there to be this big influx. Like as soon as I jump in, I'm going to be like one of those other people that are on YouTube and make, $8,000, $10,000. But what they're really missing is the fact that there's a business here, outside of loan signing. This was an opportunity, to grow something that is sustainable, if you treat it correctly. You know, a lot of times with those people that are just coming in for loan signing, you make a huge investment into this, whether you're getting used stuff or if you are buying new stuff, you're still investing in additional supplies to be able to run this business. And then you're kind of sitting there waiting. You're waiting for the alerts to pop in. Maybe I need to sign up with more signing companies. I got to get 100 signing companies. That's cool. And a lot of these signing companies will tell you that the nationwide, and Griff and I and Mathurin and everybody, we've talked about this a lot, where nationwide doesn't mean that they have business in your area or in your state. 24/7 every single day. They may only have 2 or 3 signings in that state, you know, within a 6-month period, but that still makes them nationwide. So, we're signing up with all these signing companies, waiting to hear back from people, and that's not happening. And, a lot of people are coming to a point where it's like, well, I need something to pop, or I'm not going to be able to do this, and what ends up happening is you've spent so much time and money and effort into becoming a loan signing agent. I'm going to say that very loosely right now, into becoming a loan signing agent, that you forgot to build the other side of your business, and that's within your community. And with being a notary public, we're supposed to be out in the community. That should be our top priority. That's why we were commissioned to take care of the public, not just to do loan signings. So you can't just focus on that portion of the business and expect for your business to continue to grow, especially if you're not in one of those larger cities, a New York or Boston or Virginia Beach. You can't just expect that to happen. So you really have to take a step back and reevaluate your situation, and maybe, your business plan to take a look at and say, I should probably put a little bit more investment into growing my general notary work, because ultimately, if I want this business to last for 5, 10 years, I'm going to need my community to trust me and to come to me in order for me to be able to do that. Because in the loan signing business, let's say you're getting funneled business from one particular company, and what if that funnel stops? And if that funnel, starts to slow down, that could be 15% of your regular income coming in. You know what I mean? And now you're missing 15%. So where else are you going to get that from? And if you haven't started planting those seeds in other areas, you're not going to be able to sustain everything that you need when you first got into this business and what you set out to make.
Yeah, and see, that's how I was looking at it when I got into the business. And on Friday for tomorrow, I think I'm gonna be doing it at probably around either noon or 1 o'clock tomorrow, because my 1 o'clock appointment got shifted to next week. Then it just got canceled all together. So I was like, okay,
Whoa.
So I was like, all right, cool. So most of the time when they get bumped out almost a whole week, I'm like, okay, something's going on. Maybe the person found a better deal somewhere else and they couldn't salvage it with him, with that person, with that company and all of that. So tomorrow I'll probably be on probably around between 12 and 1. I think I got a late evening signing tomorrow, like about 6 o'clock. And what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow is, when I first came into the business and how things have changed. I don't have anything till 6:30 tomorrow. So, or 5:30. So I'll hop on. But things have changed in the business. And one of the things that I looked at was, and I learned again from Bill Soroka, this is something that he talked about from the get-go, that in 2008, things shifted and he had to get his business popping. He was just doing things and wasn't really taking the business serious as he ought to. And when the shift happened in 2008, he almost got left behind. And, he started having to make phone calls and reconnecting with people and all of that. And and everything. So
there he is.
Yeah.
It's the man right there.
Yeah.
What's going on, fellas? Long day.
Yeah.
What's going on, Mathurin?
So I had to learn, just as he learned that, okay, even though there hasn't been a shift in the business when I first came in, but I just recently okay, I got to do what Bill Soroka did and others have done, which is look at other avenues. So as opportunities come up, I'm taking advantage of them. So just like tonight, the signing that I had that I went to when me and you was last talking, Q, I get in there, it's barely 50 pages. But it took me well over an hour to do, because when I got there, they're selling a house. The couple handed me the driver's license, and the wife's driver's license was expired as of January of this year.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, what are we gonna do here? They was like, well, can we sign now? I was like, no, we can't sign. I got to see the driver's license or see other ID So she said, well, I got a passport. And then she realized the passport's not here at this house. It's at the apartment we moving in, which is 30 minutes away. So I was like, they said, I said, no problem, let's roll. So they gave me the address. I had to shoot over there, met them over there. I would have got there before them, but I'm driving and I realized I ain't had no gas in the car. So I'm sitting here and the gas popped back up to like 415 in the area. And I'm like, man, gas high. And I'm talking about gas high and I ain't got nothing in my car. So I pulled over, got some gas, met them, got it all done. But as we was talking, found out that she's a ER nurse and everything. So I was like, well, I go to the hospitals, and I was like, if you need me. And she was like, no problem. So that's a connection there. So she's an ER nurse. She was happy that I was willing to accommodate. I didn't make a big fuss about it. I just, no problem. I'll meet you over there, and got them done because they really wanted to sell the house. I mean, well, they was going to sell the house. It was finalized, but they were doing the finalization of it. And that leaves a good impression. So now, when I'm meeting people even more, I'm looking at opportunities. And I'll talk about that government contract in a second. I look at opportunities that if somebody needs me as a notary, I'm letting them know I'm available. I tell them straight up, not everybody does this, but I got 2 cell phones. One of them stays on 24 hours a day. I do reboot it from time to time, but I leave that one on, the one that has my business card number on it, the number for my business card. So I let them know, if you need me, just call me. Just call. I'll come out to you 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Haven't done it yet, but they need they need to know that that's available to them. Now, real quick, government contracts. See, nobody has given me any clear definition of what the heck that means. From what I briefly researched about 6 months ago, what I saw was, if you got people who are applying to work for the government as government contractors, the government will say, you need to get this piece of paperwork notarized. And then that person has to go find a notary to notarize that piece of paper. And I guess notaries can get contracted to be the notary to notarize that piece of paper for these potential government contractors, these people who got businesses to provide services to the government. My question is, how is it supposed to work? Because again, with that case, you're supposed to be following your state guidelines, which is $5 per stamp, because this isn't a loan closing, nothing like that. This is you just basically notarizing that. So I've been trying to find somebody to just be clear about what that entails. And if somebody knows, like LaShawn out there typing in the chat, if you know, I will be more than happy to hear. But a lot of people keep asking the question, like, what about company contracts? Well, what about them? What do you want to know? Look, part of scaling your business is not just asking a blanket statement. So what about this? And then sit there waiting for the answer. What do you want to know about it? What is it that you need to know? Because I'm gonna tell you, let me just be straight up with y'all. If you're asking me a question, I already know you've heard something about it from somebody else. So just be upfront with me and just say, hey, look, Griff, this is what I heard. And that empowers me to be able to help you better. But if you're going to just sit there and, like ask a question and then hope that I give you the answer that you're looking for in comparison to what someone else says, trust me, right now, you ain't getting nothing out of me. And I'm not trying to be funny. Because one of the things is, I don't want to mislead you and guide you, okay? Because you're asking a question about, well, what if I market my business this way? Okay, well, are you doing this full-time or part-time? And in my opinion, are you married? Because in where your spouse is at, what kind of support do you have there? Do you have the funds to market? Because if you're full-time with the business and you're single and you got children, then that tells me you might be limited on money. All of these are factors that need to be taken in consideration. You cannot just keep asking people, tell me what to do and I'll do it and it's going to work. I don't know what your market is. I don't know what you're willing to do and all of that. And this is a part of the scaling of your business. LaShawn, I just dropped the link to hop on in there. Mathurin did too. So yeah, people selling courses for government contracts, but they won't come clean about it. You know, I'm like, what the heck does this mean? Is it long term? Is it short term? Do I have to sit in the office? You know, can they come to me? These are the things that I think everybody should be able to just tell you without you having to pay any amount of money for a course. Give me the basics and then let me decide from there. Either one of y'all, what y'all got? What you got, Mathurin?
Well, as far as getting the basic, I think if you really look at it, most of these courses, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. Like some of the courses I paid for and spent my time in and actually attend the courses, it's all of information where if I had took the time out and research, I could have found it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not giving it out for free because they know it's already free information. So they are making an income based off it because a lot of people don't want to do the research. At the same time, I can't knock their hustle, but if you like, if you really take the time out and do your research, most of these courses you will see the information that they are providing is information that's already out there. It may require you to do some digging, but we live in a society nowadays where just a simple research is a difficult task for most to complete. So as long as we have a group of people who are not willing to do the research, guess what? They are going to be consumers to these programs, to these trainings. Again, I'm not knocking them off because they are seeing where there's a lack of discipline in others.
Mm-hmm.
So they are just pretty much making an income out of it, which is fine. But I've attended some either like notary and real estate like courses where it's all information where I'm like, man, if I took some time out and did this, I will have found the same information. At time I will attend an event just to support another black owned business. But most of the time it's like what you really want to know, what's really going to take your business to the next level, they are not revealing it. Like they'll tell you just enough where you be like, okay, this is it. Then right when you get there, there's like, well, if you want to know the next step, you gotta pay me $5.99. So it's like it's based on perspective on how people view themselves, how people view their business. But I feel like a lot of courses out there are not really. They just provide just the basic information. If you do some basic research, that you can find. Like unless you have an inside information on what you are telling me, like somebody that is in that industry that's feeding you information that's not available to the public, then pretty much everything you're putting out is public information. If I'm paying you for it, that's because I do not want to do the research. I don't want to dedicate the time. And that is fine. Some people are busy with life, businesses, family, and they don't want to spend all that time and do the research. That's completely fine. But don't be upset when you attend a training and you find out it's all information that you could have got. Like I've been there. That happened to me at a real estate event a couple of years ago. I paid for it, thinking it was just going to be this. All the answers I don't have, that's what's going to be. I got there, like I look at my wife, she looked at me, she was like, "Does you already know this?" I'm like, "Yep." So like, and the funny part is they were having it live, and I want to say in Maryland, but I did the virtual one because I didn't want to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if I had paid for a hotel, rent a car, only just to get there to find out it's the same information I have in my notebook at home.
Right.
So I think it's a matter of people doing their due diligence. Like what you want to, if you really want to find out information, take your time, do your research. Now, if doing your research, you cannot get your question answered, then reach out to someone else. But you have to be willing to put in at least you have to be willing to at least do the basic research. See what I mean? That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. And just real quick, I just dropped the link in there about, well, I just did a Google search, and here's one of the biggest problems right now also with notaries about, when you're trying to learn how to scale your business. Y'all won't just take time out and just type in government contract for notaries. Y'all are jumping from person to person, group to group, and you're looking for everybody to tell you, and you're sitting here saying, I can't figure this out. Now let me tell you something. You can figure this out, because many of you are sitting in a W-2 and you figured out somebody is snitching on you. Somebody is trying to stop you from getting a promotion. You figured out that your boss really don't like you and they trying to get you fired. You figure stuff out and you done left a job because you're like, wait a minute. This plus that square rooted by 2 add pi. They trying to get me hemmed up. I'm out. If you can figure that kind of stuff out, you can figure this business out. But you've been told prior to coming in and getting into this business that it's too difficult, it's too complex, so you can't figure it out. And to be honest, that's a lie. You can figure this thing out. You got to be willing to put in the work. So just like one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that with government contracts, a lot of times you literally have to wait up to 90 days before you start getting paid, depending on how that particular entity operates. Yep. So it's not like you start on January 1st and then February 30th or February 1st you getting your paycheck. No, sometimes you have to submit your invoice to them, and after you submit your invoice, it can take 60 to 90 days after you submit your invoice before you get paid. And I know that because when with my IT consulting business, I get calls all the time about providing services to the government, and I tell them no. And one of the times I was like, okay, well, talk to me about it. And they was like, okay, well, you do this, that, and it sounded good. And they said, now, what does your finances look like? And I said, well, they said, because it can take up to 90 days before you get paid. And I was like, oh, nah. Nah, I don't have that. I don't have that kind of, no, I can't just stop and then I'm getting paid in 90 days, 90 days of work. And now notaries talking. I mean, you think about it. Notaries are sitting here tripping over $85 sign-ins, and the fact that it's going to take 30 days, and you talking about I'm gonna be a government contract notary, and you could be waiting up to 90 days. You get what I'm saying? I mean, think about the sensibleness of that. If you're going to do that, then that means you need to work the notary business at them $85 to $100 signings, get you some money built up, so that you can have some cash flow, something in the bank to hold you over 90 days. See, and this is what me and Q and Mathurin are talking about, that business acclimate, not understanding that, okay, I can do government contracts for notaries, but it's a 90-day waiting period, possibly. What can I do to have a 90 days worth of money sitting in the bank somewhere? Well, work the daggone thing that I have, which is the regular note, the general notary and the loan closings, and build cash up that way, along with while I'm doing the contract work for the government, I'm still taking other notary work and got money coming in. This is what's missing in y'all lives. Y'all not looking at this thing from a business standpoint. You're looking at this thing as a W-2, and that's what's throwing y'all off. You see what I'm saying? What you got, Q?
No, I think you're 100% correct. I think that a lot of times we get so focused on one aspect of the business that we are not putting in the work and time that's needed to grow the business as a whole. The dedication that's there to say, all right, I don't have loan signings coming in right now, so let me take the time to get some ads out to some people that can see me. Let me, go to the diner where all the old folks are at right now, or the senior citizens. Let me say that correctly. My bad. The senior citizens, where they're out eating, the breakfast at. Let me go, order some waffles and get into a random conversation and try to pass out some cards. You know what I mean? It's really just taking the time, because the thing is, if you're just sitting at home and you're waiting, or you're sitting at home and you're sitting on Instagram, you could be doing other things at this. You could be doing the same thing somewhere else where you're visible, right? Going to a Starbucks. You could do the same thing that you're sitting at home, doing at a Starbucks and possibly make a business contact. Never know. Just put your book out there with a note with your stamp, and boom, just somebody knows that you're a notary, right? So there's opportunities for us every single day to plant seeds to grow our business, and that's really, you know, I think what we're pointing at here is that we can't get so short-sighted to not understand that ultimately we're in this to make money. Okay, we have to build a business that's going to sustain us and our families for the long term. So, if you're not looking at those other sides of the business, then what is it that you're really doing? How committed are you to being successful in this?
Right. Now, paid signing service, we're not saying that isn't considered scaling your business. What we're saying is, in scaling your business, you have to take that into an account, the payment terms. What point does it make to scale your business and you haven't considered? Because the question would be this here: how many people knew that you could take up to 90 days to get paid? So if you didn't know prior to me saying this that it could take 90 days for you to get paid from the government, and you jumped in there, yes, you scaled your business, but you're not making money for 90 days. So now what are you doing? So let's just say you're scaling your business from the standpoint of this stream of income has dried up to almost zero. Now you're jumping over into another one that you're not getting paid for 90 days. You're at zero with this one, and you're at zero with the new one, which means you're at zero.
Right.
And yes, you scaled, but you got 90 days and you're not making any money with this one, or you pulled back. So this is what I'm saying is, in scaling your business, you got to take everything in consideration. And the payment terms is one of the most important ones, because what's the point of adding something into your business that you're not getting paid for in a reasonable time for you? So I'm not saying, and we're not saying that by doing a government contract, that's not considered scaling your business. We never said that. What we said is you need to take in consideration the fact that you're not getting paid for 90 days. And if you haven't taken that in consideration, you need to make sure that your scaling of the business is successful and not putting you in deeper debt. Because now the question is, do you have a line of credit that you have access to that is probably 2 or 3 times the amount of money that you're going to be waiting on for those 90 days? So if you're getting $6,000 over, that you can make in that 90-day period, you need to have double that or triple available in case things come up. Because let's just say they decide to add a new, to do a, give you a new line of business. And they say, hey, well, we see you doing such a great job with this. Can you do this too? Well, of course you say, well, yeah. And then what if you need to bring another person on? Now you're talking about bringing somebody else on and you're not getting paid for 90 days. How you plan on paying them? Because they're not going to wait 90 days. If you're bringing them on as a W-2, W-2s don't wait 90 days to get paid. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And that right there, especially if that person has a W-2 mindset. I just want to clear this up. I know a lot of people done heard us talk about, having a W-2. We are not against anyone that's working in like a 9 to 5. We're not against that. A lot of notaries still work a 9 to 5. I still work a 9 to 5, even though I work from home. But technically it's still a 9 to 5. But as far as you guys do need to take the time out to really do your own research. And Griff, while you were talking, I noticed someone had a comment saying that they went to an appointment and the lady did not open the door. So in a situation like this, one thing that you can implement within your business is to require a deposit. That way you're not going to someone's houses and they getting there, you getting there, they're not opening your door. What I've implemented in my business, which extremely helped, and it's I require, my business policy now is I require 50% deposit. So I give them the option. Either you make the 50% deposit to secure the appointment, or you pay the payment up front.
Right.
I come across people who are like, you know what, I'd rather pay the payment up front. The appointment I had tonight, I literally did maybe 5 or 6 pages, and that was based on the documents. I'm not gonna say the type of document. It was like nearly $200 for like 6 pages. But because it was a time sensitive appointment, and the person was like, okay, what's your fee to go there? The person can't leave the house. I'm paying this. It doesn't matter. And I give them like my average cost for that area, because I had to travel and I had to provide a witness. So all that goes into effect. So for the individual who said that they went to the person's house and they did not answer the door, next time try to implement, like at least receiving a deposit. You don't have to do 50%. If you do 20, if 20% works for you in your area, ask them for a 20% down payment. That way, if you go there, they don't open the door. At least you are kind of receiving some type of funds, like some type of payment for your troubles, because
Correct.
you don't want to waste your time traveling, especially right now. Like gas
Right.
prices are like extremely high. Look, I had to put, I think my business card is my first time filling it up, where it cost me almost $40. Like every time I fill it up prior to this, it was like $25 to Prius, and I'm like, even just knowing the difference, I was like, damn, I never paid more than $30 to fill up my car. So take that into consideration. So next time somebody called you for an appointment, ask for a deposit. Be like, hey, my company requires a deposit to secure all appointments. So just to avoid that situation right there.
Sounds good.
Hey, Griff, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
So one of the things I do is, as an A+ notary, is make me successful, right? Is I don't charge for printing, I don't charge for mileage. I'm sorry, I'm getting the feedback. I apologize. I don't charge for printing fees, any of that stuff. But it's getting me so much more business to where it doesn't matter if I charge for this stuff or not.
Yeah, I think his feedback. You might want to lower
my mic out of the way. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize.
Yeah, just lower your computer volume, so that way we are able to hear you.
I'm getting feedback, a lot of feedback.
Yeah, if you got YouTube open and then StreamYard open separate, that's probably why.
Yeah, I'm shutting down the computer. But yeah, that's exactly what was going on. But especially for new notaries, it's like you have to make, like Griff's a master notary, right?
Yes, he is.
For a while. The guy on the right, I've seen you on YouTube. I love you. To the right of Griff, I've seen you. I love you. I've seen your YouTube videos. I've watched them.
Thank you.
You're great.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
But I think new notaries have to do things we don't have to, because chances are, if I do a 365-page document, I'm not going to miss it. I'm not going to miss a stamp. I'm not going to miss a signing. I'm not going to miss an initial. I've seen it 1,000 times.
That is correct. Now, something I wanted to go back to, Paige. Okay, this comment here, you're saying growing your business is adding new resources with the hope that your revenue increases as a result, spending money to make money. We get that. But what I'm saying is you have to take in consideration all the factors. And the issue right now is that new notaries, a lot of people aren't taking in all the factors, just coming in to do the loan closing. And now you're trying to scale into doing other things. Sometimes you need more than just hope. Nowadays, it's not so much about I hope that it will work. You need to have an assurance. that at $4.15 a gallon, that this thing that I'm going to do is going to work, you want to have some type of assurance, or you have to, well, really, let's say it does work. The question is, are you in a position to work it? Because let's be real, there are people out here who have jumped into the notary business to do loan closings, and they don't even have the equipment. So you're saying, well, yeah, I can do this, and that was before the gas hit $4.15 a gallon, and you didn't have the equipment. Now you still don't have the equipment, and you're still marketing. So I guess, and maybe I'm just misunderstanding. I get that you have to spend money to make money, but at the same time, you have to make sure that the money that you're supposed to be getting back, you understand when you're going to get it back, because there's people freaking out right now. And there was somebody, Q, you saw it in the members. The lady was complaining about the fact that she was saying she wanted the NNA to get involved with making companies pay us every 10 to 14 days. I'm like, the NNA is not going to get involved in trying to make people pay every 10 to 14 days. These private entities, they're not going to do that. So if you're having a fit over the notary business towards the loan closings and getting paid in 30 days, how can you jump into being a government contract and you got to wait 60 to 90 days, and you're going to be okay with that? Just because it's supposed to be something cool and everybody says that's the thing to do and you can make all this money. And like one person said, yeah, after 90 days, the money will flow. But the thing is, here's the thing. The government can be very fickle. You do 90 days with them and they say, well, you know what? We really don't like you. And now you didn't get paid. You're going to get paid, but you didn't make any money. You didn't get any kind of pay for the first 90 days. And then your contract ends and they're like, now we're going to go with somebody else.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you have all of that. And these are things that people are not taking into account. The government will cut you loose and let you go in a heartbeat.
It looks like, according to Frank, that you will usually get paid on time.
Oh, that is so much better. I had to put in the headphones. I'm sorry, guys.
You see that comment? So Frank, it looks like Frank was a government contracting officer. And they're saying that initial payment is about 90 days, and then you will usually get it. That's not a guarantee that you're going to get it in 90 days.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Paige, the link is in there. Whoever pays signing services, hop on and explain yourself, because if you're saying that we're confusing diversification with scaling, then please come on. This is why we're here, because we're trying to get this stuff clarified for people. So please hop on and express yourself and share with us, because I can clearly see I must be missing something that you're meaning, or whatever the case may be. There's a disconnect. So I would appreciate it if you could hop on and help us understand what angle are you coming from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Come on in.
I mean, because I can't even assume that I get what you're saying, at all, to be honest, because it sounds like you're just saying, just do it and then hope that you make money. And if that's what you're saying,
that's not a good business plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And if any of us are wrong, then we stand corrected. But I need to hear you. And that's why this is part of the reason why I do the lives like this, especially with StreamYard, because I want to be able to hear people and allow them to express themselves, because sometimes you really can't fully express yourself through typing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't get that much. And a lot of people don't want to hop on. They like make these statements, and it's like, okay, I'm not good at trying to figure out this blanket statement. What do you mean by that? And everything. Just like this whole conversation started with, what about government contracting? Okay, what about it? What do you want to know?
Well, that's the thing, Griff. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos on the government contracting, but you're a veteran. I'm a veteran. I've dealt with the government. I just don't have a lot of faith in the government. So, I always avoided it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I know how the government works, and I'm not really too into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, because like me, I ain't really trying to. I did government contracting. I don't feel like messing with them no more. I don't want to be in that environment, any of that. They got a different mindset. I don't want to be around that. So all of that. So things that, so Q, talk about some of the things that you feel that people, and also then you mapping about what they can do to scale their business to continue to bring in revenue, whether things are up or down or not, because sometimes you just have to look at, it's not always about, the economy shifted, refinances, this, that, and the other, things are dried up. Sometimes it's like, okay, here's an opportunity. So what's some of the opportunities that we need to be looking at, period, as notaries to move ourselves into other avenues of revenue?
Before Q starts,
Yeah.
hey Q, could you do a video on the I-9 signings?
You want me to do a video? Well,
Yeah, that'd be really great.
I mean, I could do that. I'm not really into doing the video thing, but I'm pretty sure Mathurin has something available for you, because Mathurin be knocking videos out like tomorrow. So
yeah, he's starting to come on lately.
Okay, well, the question I got to ask you then, what do you want to know about the I-9? So you're saying, hey, do a video on I-9, you got to define that. Okay.
Well, because when the first time I did an I-9 signing, it was out of the blue, and it was a blind signing, and I'm trying to figure out, and I'm calling the company. And it's like, well, what do I need to fill out? And the lady's like, oh, well, you fill out section 2. The company fills out section 3. It's like, okay, so I'm the company's representative. Yep. And to me, a representative is somebody you've already met, right? I'm not going to represent Griff or Notary Services. I had never talked to you before, right? So that kind of threw me back a little bit. So if you guys could talk on that a little bit.
I mean,
well, just being a representative of a company, if you talk about physically meeting them, you don't have to physically meet them, especially nowadays. Pretty much, like if you're conducting loan signings, right? When you go to the signing, you are a representative, even though you're representing your business. But most of the time during the loan signing, these sellers or buyers, your face is the only one that they are going to see throughout this entire transaction. So in a way, you are representing the signing company who gave you the signing, but at the same time, you're representing your own company. So like I get what you are saying, but as far as like I think like don't worry too much into as far as the representative side. Maybe try to just focus on just completing the task. But because like if you as a notary company, let's say you started delegating some appointment to other notaries in your area, they are now a representation of your company, even though they are representing their own company. Because at the end of the day, the client had a conversation with you, even though you're sending out another notary, they are still representing your company. You see what I mean?
I think
I agree with you. But when you're first, I've been doing this for a couple of years. Griff actually had me jump into it and go with it.
Nice.
Oh, Griff's great. I called Griff one night. I think Griff, was at 1 o'clock in the morning? Your time? Hey, Griff got up and answered my question.
You got vampire hours, man.
But I was in Washington State at the time. Now I'm in Texas, so we're a little closer. But when I came down here, the I-9 signing is really a big thing, and they're paying what they would charge for a signing in Washington for I-9, which is you fill out one section of information.
Right. And that's what I
and
have.
So the I-9 really kind of blew me away.
Well, I mean, all it is just filling out, you get the documentation from list A or B and C. So it's either list A, these documents, I think it's like 2 from list A, or something from.
Actually, it's 1 from the list A, or 1 from list B and 1 from list C.
Right.
That's how many I've done down here since I've been down here in this very short time, because you got to switch your commission over, which I think is another thing notaries need to know. If you're going to move states, you got to switch that commission. That's going to take some time.
Right. I mean, all you're doing is just putting your information down here as the person who verified that information.
Yep.
Oh, Griff, you want to hear something funny? So the first time I did one, I'm like, where do I stamp at? And then I learned there's no place to stamp.
There's no place to stamp. And I've said this many, many times. And see, here's another thing with notaries. two things that I've said over and over again that we don't stamp that we can do and make money from: I-9s and loan applications. And I get phone calls monthly from people who say they looked at all my videos and they ask me, what am I supposed to do with this loan application? Because there's no place to stamp. And you look at a loan application and you look at all 50 pages and you see nothing in there for us to notarize, but you're saying, where do I stamp? And I'm like, this, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, people. This is where we got to use deductive reasoning and logic. If you're sitting there at your job and you notice that every time you get up, your boss makes a note on his desk, on his calendar, every time you get up, or somebody else gets up, and then when they come back, they make another note that tells you something that, he's watching, he's recording how long we're gone.
Yep.
So if you get a loan application tells you everything, application, and you see that there's nothing in there that's for you to notarize, nothing that they are sworn an oath to, and there's no acknowledgments of any sort, what makes you think that there should be something to notarize? And to me, that also goes back to improper training that people are taking from these PPTs, as I call them now, play trainers, that they're out here. They're out here pretending like they're real trainers in the notary world. But in my opinion, that's one of the first things you need to let them know. There's no loan application. If a loan application comes up, there's no notarizations. I mean, I've done over 1,600 assignments, and even the other day I did a $70 loan application, nothing to notarize. So if you know that there's a 99.99999% chance that there's no notarizations, educate people on that, so that they're not running around spending time trying to figure out what to do with this loan application and adding juras and acknowledgments and stuff, and then getting blacklisted. And this is the kind of stuff that is hurting notaries, but people are saying it online and you're not paying attention to what they're saying because you're so amped up and ready to notarize something that when it's clear you don't need to do something like that on an I-9 or a loan application, and then you get it, the first thing you're doing is trying to find some place to stamp as if that's going to prove that you did the job right. And next thing you know, they just like, okay, well, you know what? You don't know what you're doing. We got to get you out of here.
Well, see, and that's the thing. All you guys are a lot more experienced than me. I just started this 2-3 years ago, right? But I do remember you saying, you said the wisest thing I've ever heard, Griff. You said if there's no place to stamp, don't stamp. Don't stamp your own signature. Don't do this. Don't do that. And there were so many people actually on YouTube saying to do it. You could provide a loose leaf. You can do this. It's like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think Griff is steering me right on this. I think we actually. Well, it wasn't the I-9. It was for the home loan signings and providing the extra, the stamp page,
okay,
the unfilled out page. And it's like, people were actually online telling you to do that. And it's like, nah, I think I'm going to follow Griff on this one.
Well,
I think you saved my career as a notary.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I mean, if you're talking about there's no acknowledgement space on a document at all, and then you're talking about people telling you just stamp anyway. No, you don't do that. You know, so that's just like one of my favorite pages is the borrower's consent to use tax returns. Mm-hmm. That's you don't notarize that. The borrower's consent to use tax return, and then you're like, well, they signed it, stamp. No, you don't do that. Now, technically, can you add an all-purpose acknowledgement to it? You can, but you don't supposed to. There's no need to. There's nothing that it's not asking them to acknowledge anything. It's just informing them of that. You see, but all of the other pages that do need acknowledgments, that have acknowledgments that need a stamp, notaries are flat out not stamping them. They're not putting their name on it. They're printing their name. They're doing everything wrong on that, but they're trying to do everything correctly on stuff that they don't need to. You know, everything. What you got, Q?
I think a lot of it has to come. It really comes down to accepting your full role as a notary and not just a signing agent. You know, when you're on SnapDocs or stuff like that, you'll get paid to do something like an application that doesn't require a notary, and then you have to ask yourself, well, if there's nothing there for me to notarize, why am I getting paid to do this? You're getting paid for that because of your service. You provide a service, and ultimately, we have to see ourselves as service providers and not just somebody that's out there being a loan signing agent. You know, they
Right.
hire us to do these things because we've gone through the process, we've been vetted, we've been background checked. They can trust that we are going to handle these documents and make sure that they get taken care of properly, and that we're not going to try to commit fraud by stealing any of the information that are on these documents. You know, that is a big function of what a notary does. So again, this is just understanding and having a complete grasp of the business that you're in, and that's another way of getting paid. You don't have to use your stamp to get paid as a notary. You know, you've been vetted, you've been background checked, you've done everything that you're supposed to do to show that you're a trustworthy person, and that's why you're getting paid to be there.
Yep.
And that's the thing, because when I first asked about loan application, I'm like, why? I asked the person, I said, why are you asking me to do this? They said, because we don't have a local office there. We don't have a local office, and we trust that you'll be able to sit down with the person. Since you're already doing loan closing, you understand sitting down with somebody in their house. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm sitting here like the other day, after one of my videos I put up, I get a notification, $70 for a loan application. Bam, I'm on it. Went over, met the couple, boom, 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 and I'm done. And if you do the loan application, there is a chance that you could get assigned an actual closing and everything. So, as far as other things that people can do, Q, about scaling their business and moving their business forward, what are some of your ideas and things that you've seen since you've been in?
I'm a grassroots kind of person. I really think that jumping into loan signing as soon as you get in is a lot. Again, I'll say it, that's the way a lot of us came into it. However, I think that needs to be scaled down, and you really do need to get back into your community, because that's what we were commissioned and where we were commissioned to be. And I think that any type of scaling should be done after you kind of started to cement yourself within the community, to start funneling business to allow yourself to scale, because you are providing a service that people need. So once you get that, you start planting those seeds within your community, and then start taking off and branching into loan signing and saying, okay, how many of these can I take and still maintain that level of success that I have within my community. You know, it's hard to break into loan signing when you're just getting started, because especially if you have zero notarizations, you know, you're really out there just trying to get accustomed to being in front of people and using your stamp, and not looking like a complete novice during that time. And so it really is like, don't shy away from general notary work as soon as you get into this, because you're going to need that experience to prosper within the loan signing aspect of it. You're going to need that experience of going to somebody's house and showing up on time, and starting to develop the services that you're offering, because ultimately, you know, after we leave these people's houses, especially if you're going through a signing service, a lot of times they call the customers after we're done, and the customers give a report on how we performed. And I've gotten callbacks from signing companies that say, yeah, we just talked to the signer, and we really want to thank you for handling, you know, our client the way that you did. All right. So they are checking up and saying those things that we're doing. So you really, if you're just getting started, you want to make sure that you're getting yourself out there. Give yourself an opportunity to just grow into the role of understanding what a notary is and what it can do. Loan signing is great. You know, there's a lot of opportunity to make money there. You know, you've got notary, the runners, being a notary runner. That's not something that I've dove into, but I know that there's people that are having success there. So when I get an opportunity to possibly look at some additional things that I can do with my business, and I get to a point where I know I can move that way, that's something that I'm going to look at. However, I'm not going to jump into that right at this moment because I'm still figuring out what exactly is going on the two vehicles. I'll call them the two vehicles that I have of general notary work and loan signing. I'm still trying to steer that ship correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have to dedicate myself to those two things and doing everything that I can do to make these things successful before I start taking on something else. And now I'm going to be spread so far that I can't dedicate too much time to one aspect or the other aspect. And those are really the two things that I came in here for. You know what I mean? Like those are the two things that I came in to do. Came in to be a loan signing. I want to make the money there, but I'm gonna have to do general notary work so that way I can support myself during those times that those alerts aren't coming in on my phone. You know, you start adding in other stuff, and now you're not dedicating time to those other things, and now you're sitting there with a business that's half ran in all aspects of it.
Right. Excellent. What you got, Mathurin?
Oh man, I think you definitely made a great point as far as with the general notary. When I started, I pretty much I pretty much became known here in my area just based off doing general notary work. Those of you guys who've been following me for a while, you guys are aware that I did not start this loan signing till like 2020 during the pandemic. But in order for you to scale your business, I must agree with you as far as being known within your community. You must be willing to do what other notaries are not willing to do. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense because one of the main thing that I've done that have helped my business is being able to provide services to nursing homes and hospitals because a lot of notaries do not want to go to a nursing home or hospitals. And it doesn't have to do with just COVID because it was happening prior to COVID as well. And all the hospitals in this area, they usually call me if a patient need anything signed and notarized. Same thing with the rehab. And you have to market yourself when you go there, and just a simple thing as talking to the receptionist. You don't have to just go there like being all business. Take some time to actually have a conversation with those who are there. Like tell them about yourself, tell them about your business, and that way start working on a relationship. Because the truth is, you never know where you're doing the signing for. The last there was this one time I did a signing, and the lady was running for office in Rhode Island. And then there was this other time I did a signing, like a general notary work, and the guy was a superintendent of one of the state agencies. So you never know who you are meeting. So you have to be able to like keep an open mind, be diverse about the type of services that you are offering, and do not get stuck to just doing loan signing. Like there's nothing wrong with loan signing. If that's what you want to do, if that's your business model, then that is fine. But you have to understand that what happened with loan signing is if you depend on one company to provide you with all your service, once that company hit a dry spell, that also affects your business. Because if you are only focusing on receiving appointments from one company, and then let's say there's a change of management, and management is saying, you know what, we can't be paying these notaries like 125 to go get these documents signed. Let's find another notary where we can pay them 75.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the company where you are banking on, because they are making changes within the company, because you are relying on them, then that's going to affect your company. One way you can scale your business is you have to be diverse. Be willing to offer services other people are not willing to offer.
Right.
One example of that, I do. I completed an apostille this morning. I'm fortunate enough to have a Secretary of State office that is not too far from me. So what I do when I meet with the client, they sign and notarize a document. And how I set myself apart is I take the document to the Secretary of State office and get it apostille and certified for them. Then I meet them either back at their house or at a coffee shop, for me to hand them the document. You have to be willing to set yourself apart. Like, stop trying to be like everybody else. You want to grow your business, find something that is different, something that is effective, and something that you are willing to do while others are not even thinking about it. So that's how I've grown my business, by providing service after hours, providing service like early in the morning. I was telling Q, I once did a notary at a camping site. The couple was camping. I showed up on them. The wife was not happy because that just told her the husband never took care of the documents before they went. She was trying to have some time away, and here's this notary coming to the campsite, trying to get document notarized. Be willing to, outdo yourself. Be willing to outdo others. It's not, even though it's not about competition, but you have to be willing to do what they are not that they are not doing. Find what is needed in your area. If most of your clients are available after 6 p.m., guess what? Most other notaries are not going to be available after 6 p.m. Make yourself available. Go to their houses. If you have to meet with them somewhere that is safe. But you have to, like, stop trying to be like everybody else. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do. Set yourself apart, scale your business, and be willing to market yourself as well. Like, think beyond just the basic marketing. Like, Google My Business is great, but if you combine Google My Business with Facebook, you combine Google My Business, Facebook plus marketing to local businesses like hospitals, supermarket, attorney offices. You can even go to the car dealership and speak to someone there. I think one of the problems why people are having an issue with scaling is they are not willing to put in the work. Like, that's what I'm starting to notice. Everybody wants to scale. Everybody wants to grow. But what are you doing right now that's going to help your business 2 or 3 months down the line? That's what people need to start asking themselves and start being honest with themselves. And it looks like
Yeah.
somebody asked me what part of Massachusetts. I am in the south coast of Massachusetts. I'm in Fall River. I am based in Fall River, but I cover like Bristol County, Plymouth County, Barnstable County, and every now and then I'll be in Boston.
Hey, Griff,
So
can I say something?
Griff is muted, but go ahead, Dan.
Oh, yeah,
It's
go for it. My bad.
Here's how you know when it's time to scale. When the spouse in your life is telling you, hey, it's time to get on it. My old lady is looking for printers right now, and it's like, okay, I have 4 printers and 3 scanners. And she's like, no, we need more. Like, we need an office space. That's when you know it's time. When the spouse in your life is telling you, hey, it's time to scale, that's when you know you're on to something. And you got to really have a passion for this business. If you don't have a passion for this business, I don't care how technically proficient you are, you'll never be good in this business. You have to have a passion for it. You know what that means? I got an A+ rating. I was telling you about that, Griff, right? We did a video on it. But I got about a bit at 1 a.m. in the morning. And the dude was like, I need this done now. It was from Notary Go. And he's like, go do it. Can you do it? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I'll go do it. And so I went and did it. But when that other person in your life or the people around you are telling you it's time to scale, that's when it's time to scale. When you're good at what you do and you have a passion for this and you have a drive for it and you love it. I've done a great many things in my life. I'm a veteran. Me and Griff are both veterans, right? Firearms instructor, CIA contractor. But I have a passion for this. This is what I love to do. And it's really weird. I never really would have even thought. If you had told me 5 years ago now that, hey, you're going to have a passion for this, I would have been like, yeah, no, you're insane. But you have to have a passion for it. And when the people around you are telling you, you got to go for it, that's when you have to go for it. And you really got to have a passion for it. You got to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have a passion. And that's me and Griff talked about this on one of our last videos. It's like, if you don't have a passion for this, and it doesn't mean you're doing it full time, this is all you do, nothing like that, right? Nothing even close to that, right? But if you don't have the passion to say, hey, this is what I want to do, you're not going to be good at it. It just is what it is. Because you're not going to take the time to learn. You're not going to sit down and watch hundreds of hours of Griff videos, right? You're not going to call Griff at 1 a.m. in the morning. You're not going to call the NNA on their 24-hour hotline. You're not going to do any of that. You're going to say, okay, this is what I'm doing after work. And the crazy part is this is a great career. It's a great career. It requires some investment. It does. It really does. But if it's what you have the passion for, and it's really crazy because I think a lot of us get into this, like for me, I don't know about the rest of you, I didn't realize I had the passion for this. But the minute I did my first signing, and I remember I was on the phone with Griff, and Griff was like, just go do the signing. I think he hung up on me. But like, just go do the signing. So I went and did the signing, and it's like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. If you're a people person, if you could talk to people, if you know what you're doing, and you can talk to people, if you're a people person, you can do this business. It's not a job, it's a business. And I think a lot of us, we get into the W-2 mentality of working for people. You have to be in a W-9 mentality. Like, this is my business. I'm going to build it. I'm going to work for me. And I think that's one of the things so I watch these YouTube videos. I see a lot of these videos and people are like, oh yeah, you do this and blah, 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 and you do that. And there's so much great side money. No, it's not side money. This is my business. It's not side money. And that's why you'll never be successful.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it as a side hustle, you'll never be successful. This is a business. Now, there's so many other things that branch out from this business. You can be an apostille. You can do all kind of stuff. But what the government is saying is, we've checked this person out. And look at all of these papers we sign, all these documents, to where we just sign our signature. Your signature is gold. It's worth money. Your signature is gold. They've checked you out. And that's super important. And I think that's something we miss a lot. This is not so much the stamp, it's your signature. Because you're a trustworthy person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to touch on something real fast, going back to something that Mathurin said about making your Facebook work with Google page. So one of the things that I've come across with working with people recently is that they have tools, and we've invested in tools to help our business grow, but those tools really aren't functional for us. And we continue to invest in those things and invest time and wait for things to work based off of those tools that we put in the Google business pages, the Facebook business pages, the websites. You know, you really have to take a step back and kind of look at things and say, okay, how is this actually helping and working for me? Having those Google Analytics, looking at the numbers, how many people are actually hitting your web page, you know, and then you have to stop and think, you know, how many people are searching for notaries in my area? You know, if you were to find out, you know, notary near me, if you do a Google search like that, right, you'll see all the notaries that are in your general area. How many times is that actually happening? So you have these opportunities to kind of display yourself to your community and to grow your business, but you have to make those avenues for customers to reach out to you functional.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really important when you're trying to grow your business, because if you've got a web page that's overcomplicated and it's not telling the customer what they want to hear, or what they want to see to make them feel comfortable in purchasing services from you, then is that website really a functional? Is it helping you or is it hurting you at that point? It's the same thing with your Facebook business page, the same thing with your Google business page. If you don't have anything up there and it's not up to date and people aren't seeing that you're still active, there's a lot of websites that are still out there that people are just no longer active. So you want to make sure that when you're building this business that you have, you're really making sure that all of those tools that you're investing in, the time that you're investing, everything that you went and got a logo put together to put on, that they're actually functioning and working for you. And and it takes time. It doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. You need to give yourself a couple of months and start looking at data numbers to see, is this actually working for my business? And if it's not, then I need to figure out how to make this work for me. What do I want from my customers to make this a more profitable thing for me? If they're not scheduling on your website, then are you telling them on your website, call you instead? Or do you have that thing up there that just says schedule me, right? You have to leave ways for, and tell your customers exactly what it is that you want from them. And I think a lot of times for notaries, we do lose business to a certain extent as a whole, as mobile notaries, especially because a lot of people don't even know that mobile notaries exist.
Yeah.
All right. And that's a really strong point that you have to understand. Like when people find out, they go on Thumbtack or something like that, or they see one of my ads and they go, we didn't even know that this existed. So what were they doing this entire time? Communities have foundational, establishments that they have, and usually you have a tags and title place that offers notarizations. That's where most people are going to go, because that's just ingrained in their community. Do you know what I mean? So you have to create that presence within the area that you're working, and allow those customers to interact with you and make these tools useful. Make them work for you so you don't have to do all the work. So you don't have to go door to door and cold calling and all those things. You want to make these tools work for you so you can get the outcome from the customers that you want, because you only get one opportunity a lot of times. If they do that search, you only get one time. So you got to give them what they need and give them what they want and make them feel comfortable. That's all I got. And Griff,
all right, how you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, Tommy.
Hey, what's going on? Let me hit these 2 quick points, Tommy, and then I'm gonna come to you.
Doing?
Yeah.
Hey,
hold on one second. And look like your video's frozen. Okay, there we go. You coming back? But yeah, let me hit these 2 points real quick, and then we're gonna swing over to Tommy. Now, here's something, and I put the links in the in the chat, y'all, and everything. I put the links in there, and okay, yeah, and we're gonna bring you on too, Wanda. Just hold tight. So here's 2 of the things about scaling your business. There's a difference between scaling your business and growth, and one of the things you got to realize is that in order to scale your business, you have to have growth. And a lot of people don't have any growth in their business because they're not doing business. So if you're not doing business, that means you don't have any growth. And that's one of the things I always say is the number one way to market your business is to be ready to do business. If you're not able to do business when people call on you, then you're not doing anything. And then therefore there's nothing growing. Therefore there's nothing for you to scale. And one of the definitions of scaling your business is basically creating a level of income coming in, but reducing the amount of money that's going out to do it. So, and in this here one gives an example of creating, $10,000 worth of revenue, but you had to buy a $5,000 piece of software in order to do it. So here's two things that you got to look at. And this is what everybody is talking about. And I'm pretty sure Tommy's going to say the same thing. You have to have a product or service that people want. If you don't have a product or service that people want, then it's going to be hard. And it says here, you can't scale without a successful product or service that has a proven track record. You are the product or service, your ability to notarize documents. If you don't have a proven track record, nobody's going to pay you anything. Okay. It's just that simple. Why would I pay you when there's no proof that you know what the heck you're doing? If you aren't making sales now, more salespeople or sales technology won't help. So in other words, going back to Q's point and Mathurin's point, if you're not out there doing notarizations, flooding Instagram and Facebook and Google My Business is not going to create anything if when the opportunity to do work, you're making excuses not to do it. Case in point, 2 of the signings I had, one from yesterday, one from today, both of them, the signing companies both got paid $150. One of them paid me $135 of the $150, and the other one paid me $125 of the $150. Now, and I have to say this way, the average Facebook notary, the average YouTube guru out there, the average PPT trainer out there would say, if they're getting 150, you need to get the whole thing. But if they're getting 150 and they're giving you 80% of that, 90% of that, what is there for you to whine and complain about? You're pushing them back from doing the business because, well, oh, you want to pay me 125? Well, no, I really need 275. I need this, that, or the other. And you got to go in there and do the work. The other part is there a demand for your business? In addition to having a sellable product, you have to have a target audience to sell it to. So who are you marketing to? So in other words, if you're in a state where going direct is the key thing, then cool, do that. But if you're in a state where going direct is not the cool thing because they got internal notaries, case in point again, the signing that I did tonight, seller's package, 125 I was paid, 50 pages. Here's the thing. The only reason why I was assigned that order was because the couple, the wife's work schedule didn't permit her to be off so she could go into the title office. And she was telling me, she said, because she was asking me about being a notary and all that. And she said, the only reason why she said, from my understanding, the only reason why you're here is because I couldn't go into the title office. The title office told me that they normally do their stuff in-house and only get a mobile notary when either basically they can't find somebody in-house to do it or the customer can't come to them. So for me, the demand of the business is that I got to find somebody to sell, and the people who I can sell myself to is who? The signing companies. Me going to the title office where I know they really don't want to mess with me because they got their own internal people that they're paying $15 an hour to. They ain't going to want to pay me $125, $135, $150 when they can pay somebody $15 an hour and have them do 15, 20 closings a day. They save a whole lot more money doing that. So they basically paying them about $150 for a whole day of doing 5 or 6 times more closings than what I did. So you have to recognize that and market yourself where the demand is. The demand right now for my area is with the signing companies. So therefore my profile and everything about me communicates to them that I'm the one you want to select. What you got for me, Tommy?
Just wanted to let hello to everyone on the panel. I don't know if it's can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, the best time to actually start scaling your business, ladies and gentlemen, is actually during the startup phase when you decide to go LLC or S corp. And the reason why I say that because that's an important phase when you structure it correctly with accounting and bookkeeping. You can set yourself up for business credit that's not linked to your Social Security number or to you personally. It's linked to your business, which has its own EIN number or Social Security number. And of course, I'm a living testament of that because this right here is my Sam's MasterCard. This here, $20,000 limit. See what that's my first mobile notary.
Nice.
No PG. Now I got this another card, $15,000. This is Sam's in-store card. Same thing.
Hey Tommy,
It's,
if you
it's,
don't
it,
mind
but
explaining what no PG means to some people, so just in case they're not aware what no PG means.
Oh, yeah, I was getting ready to ask. Yeah, I know what it means, but go ahead on, man.
I got fogged up. No PG is basically help me out. Go
No
ahead and help me
personal
out with that.
guarantee.
Personal guarantee, that's what it is. No personal guarantee, which means it's not linked to your social security number or building your personal credit profile. Your company builds its own identity. So the best way to scale is at the start of your business to start working towards that before you need to get additional equipment, inventory, and of course, personnel. Like here, this is not the only card I have. Corporate fuel card.
Mm-hmm.
That's corporate. That's maintenance fuel. All right. Got my company name on the bottom. This is no PG. Wax fuel. I could book hotels with this. Correctly to structure your business for business credit as well.
And this person says, please, yeah, you do have to have your personal credit straight. And look, this is one of the things that y'all have to be aware of. And I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to offend the people, because there's a lot of people out here who do who have started doing the business credit and personal credit and things of that nature for folk. Here's the thing. If you haven't been in business for 2 years, a lot of times they're going to link what you're trying to do to your personal credit. And my thing is this: if you're a business credit person, if you're trying to help people start business credit, then you should be warning them and informing them of that, hey, if you've been in business for less than 2 years, when you apply for these business credit cards, they're going to base it off of your personal credit. Now, that's why I did the video about getting the Amazon business credit. If you set up your business correctly and you basically talk what Tommy is talking about, you do that, you'll get the credit. And a lot of people started off with $1,000, and then next thing you know, they got a $4,000 limit. One lady said she immediately got $9,000. So that's one way you can get it, but you have to keep in mind that this is tied to your personal. And here's the thing: if you're not going to do the business and bring in revenue, why are you trying to get business credit because if you don't bring in revenue and your W-2, that means what? You're taking your personal money that's already fixed. Your fixed $20 an hour, $15 an hour, $8 an hour is fixed to pay your personal bills. And now you got to find a way to take that personal bill money and pay your business lines of credit that you have off. So you might have a good personal credit score, and they give you a business line of credit of $6,000. Then you start using it, and now you're sitting here like, well, I'm not going to do this order. I'm not going to do that order. I ain't going to do that because it's not paying enough here. It's not paying enough there. And then 30 days later, you got to make a payment on all of that business credit that the printer, the computer, and all of that, and you have no revenue whatsoever. So let me give y'all a way that you can generate income or deal with this business credit. In, let's just say, April 1st, this month, March, you got you a business credit card. April, the month of April, try not to use it, and use the month of April to get as much revenue coming in from your notary business, fingerprinting business, and anything else that you got, so that when you finally use that card in May, you got revenue coming in from the previous month, so that when push comes to shove, gotta hide them. So when push comes to shove, you can have money to pay that stuff off. And mods, if y'all out there, I know y'all mods, knock these people out for me. That's the key thing. So if you use your credit card in May, late May, June, the money you made in March, in April will be there to pay the bill. But what people are doing is using 3,000 of the 6,000
Right.
in March, and then come time for that bill in the end of April, they don't have any revenue coming in from the business.
Right.
And that's what's blowing you up. And the next thing, and again, I'm not picking on you folk who do business credit, but where are you going to be at then? Because what are you going to say? You're a grown up, you're an adult, you should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
You should have. So if that's what people are going to say to you, you might as well make sure you do what you're supposed to do to protect yourself, and don't think that these people are going to be like, help you out. What you got, Tommy?
Right. Yeah, just wanted to make sure you want to treat this business credit as just like on your personal credit end. It's definitely no PG when done the proper way, which means it's not linked to your social security number. And there are corporations out there, which I've went through to get me through this process, and that's how I obtained a large credit company file for my corporation.
That is
So
correct.
it also could be done for others as well. It's just following the formula, paying your bills, paying your invoices when you order stuff, and you can build that build credit in as little as 6 months to 1 year.
Yeah, and that's it. So a lot of people right now are jumping on trying to get in here and do a whole bunch of stuff that really has nothing to do with growing your business.
Right.
They're looking at other people and they're like, hey, they're scaling their business. And the biggest problem right now is that you have so many people who are bragging about where they are at now, but they're not telling the people how they got there.
Right. And let me tell you this, though. What a lot of people don't know, bookkeeping and accounting is a big process to that. So that's how a lot of those individuals can scale their companies versus individuals that's looking inside out, wondering how they're doing it. They do it through bookkeeping and accounting. I learned that process. I have both. So that's what I utilize. And it definitely can work for others if you it's actually the right way to do business. It's the correct way.
Correct. So for me, one of the ways what I'm looking at for scaling my business is generating enough recognition that I'm doing things right, that they see that I'm a reliable notary, that I can do things right. If I make a mistake, I get it corrected, so that they can have confidence. Let's just say I do decide to start a signing company, which is one way to scale the business. Well, they need to have confidence in me. They need to have confidence that, hey, if we select Griff's signing company, we have a record of proof that we know he'll do things correctly. If you're a so-so notary, you're sort of halfway doing stuff, they're going to be like, well, no, I don't know if he's going to be able to train the people who's coming under him, who he's sending our way to help us do our bit, to do things right. So another way I'm looking at scaling my business is with the notary success system. And in that, I'm looking at training people how to do the loan closings correctly and confidently, which then does what? Gives confidence to the people who I could probably market my signing company to, because they're like, well, if he's training people how to do it right, and we're confident in, and we see that they're doing stuff right, then we'll be more willing to select him. That's what I'm looking at doing. But at the same time, I'm willing to be patient. I think there are a lot of people who are in this business and they don't have the ability to be patient because they're strapped. They're strapped for money.
Right.
Their life is hurting right now and they need something. And I keep saying, I went back and looked at my video called I'm a new notary now. What? And in that video, the first 3 minutes or so, I was telling people, if you're in this business, if you're in this business, you need a quick, fix of money. This might not be the business for you if you're trying to get something quick, because the problem is that in trying to get it done quick, you can hurt people. That's where the problem comes in at. What you got, man?
This business is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I completely agree with that, Tommy. And that's one thing that people need to, really take the time out to reevaluate themselves. Because a lot of people here are just trying to they out here in this business like chasing the fast money life. Look, if you want fast money life, if you like, that's not the business for you. Like, you have to take the time. You have to dedicate yourself. You have to be willing to educate yourself. And one of the easiest way that you can educate yourself within the notary industry is knowing your state laws. Like, we all done speak on this. Like, if you don't know your state laws, then you're just hurting yourself. You're hurting your business. And one of the reason, and a perfect example regarding the state laws, a couple of days ago, I made a post regarding credible witness. And I had a few people who reached out to me saying, well, I thought in order for you to use a credible witness, the notary had to know the signer and the witness. Now ask yourself, as a mobile notary service, right, that's traveling to someone's home, what are the chances that you are going to know both the signer and a credible witness that they are using? The chances of you knowing both individual are very slim. So, I called the NNA a couple years ago. I called my Secretary of State a couple years ago, and when the representative I talked to, they broke it down to me. And there was this one time I was doing a real estate transaction, and one of the individual didn't have the ID with them, and the notary there, he used, I believe, her uncle as a credible witness. That was my first time seeing in person a credible witness being used. When I asked him about it, I told him I'm also a notary. If he can explain that to me, he's been a notary for the last 20 years. So he told me, hey, this is, if somebody doesn't have an ID, they have someone with them, you can use a credible witness in the state of Massachusetts. So I did some research, reached out to my Secretary of State, and now when there's a situation where a signer does not have an ID or the valid ID is expired, I bring up the credible witness because it's something I can use in the state of Massachusetts. And I'm like, well, if you're able to get somebody that has a valid ID that know you and that can pretty much swear and affirm that you are who you say you are, then we can proceed with the appointment. And like, if I didn't take the time out to research and know my state laws, there's been a few appointments where I've used credible witness. I would not have been able to assist those individuals. That's why I tell people all the time, you must be willing to set yourself apart, be willing to learn, be willing to educate yourself, be willing to do what is required within your business in order for you to survive. Because not everyone's going to survive in this industry. That $10,000-$20,000 fantasy, I'm not saying not a fantasy to a way where it's not possible, but if you are just starting out, you have to take those steps in order for you to get there. You can't just come in and within the first week you're like, oh, I'm going to make $10,000 this month. You have to understand that you are going to have those weeks where you're not getting any phone calls. You are going to have this week where your numbers are going to go low for whatever reason. But if you just here to chase that $10,000 mark, and when those week comes, when you're not getting those phone calls, when you're not getting as many appointments that you like, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go find the next business.
Suicide watch.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You're gonna go find the next business that promised you $10,000, and you're just gonna jump from one thing to the next thing. It's just like you said, it's definitely a journey, not a race, and it all starts with your mindset. If you have the right mindset, within your business, within your family life, you need to have the right mindset in order for you to grow. You cannot grow in any business if you don't have the right mindset.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well,
We
look,
can
y'all,
thank
we're
we
gonna
can thank those California YouTube videos for that.
yeah. Well, part of people, we're gonna cut it right there. We just wanted to hop on. I'm gonna pop this video over into the unpublished, and I'm gonna go through and then edit it and everything and block out some of that stuff that was up in there and everything. Somebody got in here and started one. I guess they must have hacked old girl's account
Yeah,
and
that's messed
everything.
up.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
hacked
they,
her account and stuff.
they
So
got
we'll
the
get all
code,
that
so we
taken
got to
care
cut
of.
it.
Yeah, but I hope y'all got the point. And if y'all got any questions, feel free to hit the comment section, reach out, and we'll be more than happy to help y'all and everything. All right. Well, y'all
All
have
right.
a good one.